We're here to talk about Live 360 with three really amazing guests. We have Alx Klive from 360 Designs, Louis Smithingham from 30 Ninjas, and Khayyam Wakil from Live Planet. I remembered it before I read it, I promise you. So we'll just jump right in to the panel.
Yeah. There was a Hacksaw Jim Duggan reference earlier. There will be wrestling, I'm told. There will be fights.
Maybe we should put this table away. Move this table closer to me.
Let's go sharpen up corners.
So let's jump to it.
Yeah, so I guess my first question, the big news, Alx, comes from you. Last week you guys launched the 6K live streaming drone. I guess tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, it's called Flying Eye, and it's a 6K live streaming VR drone. Broadcast quality, near uncompressed. It's amazing.
And why did you guys decide that that's what you were going to do? Tell me a little bit about why it's important to show people what it's like from the air.
Well, I mean, I have a personal interest in drones. I used to build and fly drones like a few years ago before they started selling them. So it's always been an interest of mine to put 360 cameras, but because I'm so interested in live, I wanted to solve that problem. So we built a 6K streaming system.
How do you not make your viewer throw up? Shooting drones, it's always shaky and not the most steady shot. How did you solve that problem?
So it depends on, so it's choice of shots. So some shots, it turns out, work really well in VR, which is a straight up and down. It's the simplest shot of all. But actually that is the best shot.
Okay.
It's kind of, you look down, you don't see your feet. It's this kind of out of body experience. But stabilization, either mechanical or, what do you call it? Processed, live process, yeah.
And what about when people look up? No, you go first. You're
I'm
more
just
important
curious,
than
like,
me.
with this signal, so, because this is cool, first of all.
You want to know how it works?
Well, I want to know what's going.
I'm not telling.
Well, no, but I want to know where, so, camera is flying. You stitch at camera, right?
I'm not saying.
Okay. At my switcher, what am I getting?
6K. Or 4K.
IP,
You can do
SDI.
NDI 6K,
Okay.
SDI 4K, or you can do 6K HEVC.
Okay.
Hey, Louis, can you stick around a little bit? I think I'm going to go get a drink.
I
love it. Do it.
So you said, okay, you processed it. For those who don't know the acronyms of what you just asked, what just went down right there?
Okay, so yeah, Louis is asking how do you get the signal out? So 6K is a very valid question because SDI tops out at 4K.
Yes.
So, I mean, SDI has obviously been around a long time. It's very robust. We use it a lot for our live VR streaming. But if you want to push to 6K, you've got to look at something else. So that's NDI or HEVC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you approve?
And I know Khayyam loves
cool.
NDI.
I approve of all of these things. You need them all, right? You can't just
They keep the planet live.
Yeah, they keep the planet live.
Yeah.
Talk about your platform.
We came up with a really interesting design, very, very small. It's a stereoscopic live streaming camera, so it does the encoding and the stitching on board the camera. You know what? It's over at the metal booth. I forgot it. But it literally is 4 inches around. I can stick my hand. And so
2 lenses?
16. So it's a cylindrical array, and so there's 16 around. So it uses 16 lenses to capture your 4K for your left eye. It uses 16 lenses to capture the 4K for your right eye, giving you a depth map, and then that way you have stereoscopic. So the example I always give is all of the 360 that's been out there, it's been made for pirates because they have an eye patch and they have no depth information. And when I look out at NAB, I don't see one single pirate. So I'm curious why we've been making video for pirates. Now we get to actually view it like we would normally view it. You have 2 eyes, you get that depth. Stereoscopic is where you got to go.
Don't judge me. No VR.
No VR.
No VR.
I am going to poke the hornet's nest because Alx, I know that you have strong opinions about monoscopic and stereoscopic and what to do for 360.
Yeah, look, stereo is really hard. At the moment, it's just in one axis.
Good stereo as well.
It's, I did a panel not long ago where I had a slide, the 10 reasons that stereo is really hard and not to do it. Sorry.
That's okay. We figured out the hard part, so that's why we got it going.
There you go. See, good old. Yeah, so, I mean, I think fundamentally at the end of the day, for me, as far as live is concerned, stereo requires 50% more bandwidth. And that isn't going to change.
Well, that depends. Viewporting is always a fun thing.
Okay, but I mean, at a theoretical level,
absolutely,
it's 50% more bandwidth. And that means that because bandwidth is limited, and will be, whether it's 4G, 5G, 10G, you have this upper limit, so you're always going to get better quality with mono. It's going to be 50% better. So that's a fundamental kind of equation that I can't quite get past for me.
And I'll speak to that. I agree. Like, you have a better quality on that mono. It's a little bit less. And that was one of the things that we considered. Is it's great to have a camera, and a lot of people are like, hey, what about that camera? I go, that's a great steering wheel. Where's the rest of the car? How are you going to get from point A to point B? So that was one thing that we realized very early in creating a stereoscopic camera that live streams and stitches on board. It's very difficult to do. Maybe 6 months ago it was, it wasn't possible 6 months ago, but now it is. Thanks to NVIDIA's Jetson TX1, they'll be coming out with a TX2 that's built for AI. It's basically the GPU processor that enables this to happen. And so looking at the bandwidth, absolutely correct. You're doing 2 4K streams down a pipeline when you can only usually get a 4K. So a lot of, I guess, tactics and strategy was put to use in our cloud. So we viewport our stereoscopic, so we can actually reduce that down to 80% of what it actually is and get it less than what a 360 is. And then because you're viewporting, we're getting 12 streams per 360. So you're viewporting a very high quality. So it could be arguably equal or better than just a monoscopic. However, we're in a world where we got phones. No one's got a headset in their pocket. So mono is going to be the catapult. Yeah. But my idea of like the conversion, the impression is the view. Hey, I looked at the 360. My conversion is I put it in a headset and I put it on my head. And so that's where you're going to start getting that. Sure. You have everyone kind of pushing towards, hey, wait a second, we got mono. Let's look at stereo. You got Facebook making announcements on stereo stuff. So it will slowly move there, and the technology is catching up to enable that quality.
Yeah, so you're working a few steps ahead. And Robert, I know you had a question about Facebook Live.
Well, in terms of that, you just kind of, Facebook is doing more live stuff. Have you integrated? Are you looking to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're a great ecosystem to.
That's the gateway drug to everybody else.
I mean,
I feel like
with our cloud, we do a syndication. So you put up one rectangular video, and then you click a bunch of buttons, and it'll go to Facebook, it'll go to Periscope, it'll go to YouTube, wherever you need. So instead of having to go into all of those accounts, it's all in one CMS where you can just click and choose where you want to put it. Or even if you want to put it to your app in an SDK, you have the ability to do so. So it's one video file goes up, we do the multiple encoding, gotcha. So it can go to all those different platforms. I mean, that's the hard part. We do that manually now. It should be done by a cloud that's got all the GPU processing to do all of that stuff.
Well, I've actually got a question about Facebook Live. So right now, a lot of people are sort of just putting up a camera and like expecting people to engage with their 360 content. How can we sort of elevate beyond what a lot of people are seeing on Facebook today so that it's actually interesting?
That's something we deal with. So we deal with a lot, and we're pretty vigorous about that. We won't do a job if we can't get good camera positions, because with 360, I've seen some really promising content with a camera position 300 feet away, and so this incredible, famous, historical person is this 3-pixel blob, right. And then they don't denoise, so now he's a noisy 3-pixel blob, and we won't do it. Like, we straight up will turn it down. That particular job we turned down. But we had a piece recently for World Economic Forum that we worked with Facebook Live on. And we'd gone out to China with them the year before, shown them the camera, gotten everybody used to it, gotten the security team used to it, gotten the AV team. Everybody was used to seeing this camera. This is what it is. This is what you're going to expect next year. So the next year when we show up and it's Shakira, and Shakira's here, and our camera is here, nobody's going to freak out. And it's in all the other camera shots. And so now we have a shot where when you're in headset, you're 3 feet from Shakira. And it's Shakira talking about clean water. I'm not going to pretend it's the most exciting thing in the world. Like, it really wasn't that exciting, but it was well color graded, it was denoised, and you're 3 feet away from Shakira. And we hit 36,000 people watching at one point, which, as far as I know, there aren't that many other videos that have hit that at that point. And I love my team. My team do amazing work, but I really blame my client for that, because they let us get that close.
Yeah.
And it's just so crucial.
Well, so once you get compelling content and you got all those viewers, one of the questions is, you've got to engage with that audience. If you've ever periscoped or even 2D Facebook Live, you have to acknowledge the people coming in. You've got to talk to them and keep them going. And then there's the trolls. With these platforms, when you're live streaming, now you're live streaming in 360, how are you doing social engagement, and how are you dealing with comments and someone saying something perhaps Shakira
Moderators.
didn't want to hear about? Like, how would what are you guys' approach and infrastructure for that?
Our Silent J and Bob approach. You just go up to the doorbell, you knock on the door, open it up, and then they're the ones who said something bad. You knock them out.
So via your platform so compelling, you
Yeah, no, I'm just teasing.
how do you handle it, Alex? Have you thought about that infrastructure of social engagement and trolling?
Well, I mean, we haven't faced that, to be honest. So, I mean, I think this question about how do you make it engaging is really key. It's like you said. I mean, it's not enough to put a camera up on stage next to an artist, and expect people to watch it for more than 5 minutes, unless they're like a really big fan, So I think this takes us into multi-camera. Our view at 360 Designs is you've got to do the same production standards as traditional broadcast.
Yes,
that's what people are used to.
absolutely.
That's what people are used to. So, we're here at NAB, surrounded by the best broadcasters and companies in the world, and I feel strongly that the broadcast industry, which has been doing this stuff for so long, knows how to make a really engaging sports live broadcast or award show live broadcast. And that's what people are used to, and you have to give them that in 360. The technology alone, on its own, is not enough to make it interesting.
It's often
So I believe-
worse. It often makes it worse.
No, it's
Yeah.
very true. I mean, if you put one camera up that's capturing that concert, I can only
Super
spin
noisy,
around in a
not
circle
color
for
graded,
10
no
seconds
graphics.
maybe.
Yeah.
And you're
After
bored.
that, then I'm done. But
Yeah.
it's very true. You need to create that production value, and you're not going to get it with one camera. You're not going to get one camera on the side of the stage. You want 6, 5, 7, whatever it is, so I can switch between it. So now you're moving into the live switching, where you either have the user being able to tap in between the drummer solo, or watching Beyonce walk away from you, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or then you have, let's say, the production team. They want to put a minute delay so they can curate where you want to switch to, and that's very akin to how we see a halftime show. Beyonce may be walking away, that's a great view, but then all of a sudden she's coming to the other side. I want her coming to me, singing to me. So I may not have the wherewithal to go, oh, wait a second, I should be the director and switch. I'm just going to be stuck in that thing. So being able to curate a delivery of a live show in a production value that we're used to in a 2D sense, that's where you have to get, and not camera positions in the nosebleed section. It's right there.
Well, that's one of those challenges in terms of, with 360, we are giving control to the viewer to look wherever the hell they want. And now if you're doing multi-camera, do you give them control to look in the wrong camera place at the wrong time?
It depends on the
or
shoot.
Do you want to be the narrator and be like, no, go
So
look at this
I'm a
camera.
gamer, and I'll relate this to gaming. So when there's a great game out right now, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was reading an interview, and it's a big open world game. But as you're playing it, you very
Follow
clearly
path.
realize that you're following a path. And so with any experience, you just design the theme park.
Yeah.
And then they're going to look in the right place, and you give people the option, and you can give them the option to choose. I like being able to choose with live bands, because there are certain bands where I don't care about anybody except for the drummer,
Sure.
or the guitarist or whatever. But it's, interactivity is fun, but you also want to have the option of being able to let go and ride this roller coaster through the space.
Yeah.
And people do look where you want them to look if you give them something interesting.
Yeah.
If it's boring, they won't look at it and they'll wander around. But if you give them something they want, they'll always look there. And we found that consistently.
So I think Lewis is right. Giving people ultimately choice, is probably the best answer. It, adds a lot of complexity to what you're doing. I do think that, television, if we look at television and the movies, there is a long history of people trying to do interactive television that hasn't worked. You choose the camera angle. Nobody wants that. Everyone thought it was a great idea. Oh yeah, we'll follow this guy or follow this guy. But at the we watch entertainment, visual entertainment to relax. We watch television to relax.
Yeah,
It's a passive experience. It's worked for 60 years. One thing I've learned in my career is it's very hard to change people's habits. They're like 60-year habits. So I do believe that a directed experience is probably going to be the most popular. But
If we are living in the future where we can fly a drone with multi-camera shots live, why not have both?
No.
Yeah.
Right? Why not have the director
Yeah, give them
shot
the
and the
option.
guide and
Yeah.
like, no, I got this. Let me jump around and just stare.
And Khayyam's right about the UI. It's a tap on the side of the head to change,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I agree. It depends on what you're shooting. For live music, however, those are brands, multi-billion, $million brands. And when you have that brand on stage, that's the only thing that you should be looking at. No one should be looking at their shoes or the nadir on the ground. And that detracts. So it's great to give all of the control, but it's also great to give the option of a curated experience. Because now, I just want to press cruise control and kind of kick back a little bit. After I played around and I'm like, ooh, this is fun. Now this is a better experience because someone's directing it for me, and it's like I see a halftime show. And now I get that
And
production
it's
value.
a thing. So before I did this, I was a tour videographer for a really long time. And when you tour with a band, you're doing 6 months with them. They do the same set every night. And when you're hitting that switcher, you know what they're going to do at every instance. And there are things that if you're not an ultra super mega fan, you're not going to know this person's going to do solo here. This person's going to do this here. And so having that curation really does help. But 360 gives you the feeling that you're making the decision yourself, when in reality you're likely doing exactly what we want you to do.
Yeah, just a little bit of both. And we touched on boredom. So what sort of engagement are you seeing? How long are people sticking around in these experiences?
Data, metrics, what you got?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Come on,
So,
live. How are
you go? You got more.
Yeah, we
That's
got
one of
so
those
Share it all.
Conan. We had an interesting experiment where we did Conan live direct to a booth at Comic-Con, and the headset was occupied 8 hours a day for 5 days straight. And then we also did a web-to-web live stream, and that was, we were in the millions because that's a known brand.
Yeah.
And his fans are voracious and frightening and amazing at the same time.
Team Coco.
And
Was the main distribution YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube Team Coco. We did World Economic Forum. Shakira was our highest number we've gotten, which was 36,000 people engaged for 30 minutes. Well, it started at 6,000, and then Shakira tweeted about it, and all of a sudden it just went to 36,000.
Now, but
Which is
specific,
insane.
how long were they there? How long
30
were they
minutes.
there? 30 minutes for Shakira and for Team Coco?
For Team Coco, it was 5-minute chunks, and
Okay.
people would watch a bit
Pop in
and then
and
pop out. But we're finding if the content's worth watching, people stick around.
Yeah.
Compelling content is still compelling content, whether it's 360
For
or
some
flat.
reason, 360's not been focusing on that. I think also, to speak to Al's point, engaging with broadcast tools and using things like, I see a lot of 360 content. For some, I did tour videography and then I did bullet time. The only reason why I feel remotely qualified to be doing 360 is because of my bullet time work. And I still find it really hard. And I think I see a lot of 360 that for some reason people are ignoring the basic things that we've all been doing for a long time. Like, wait, you didn't grade that? Like, what? You just did a quick thing in FCPX? Like, what? No, this is hard. You need to put professional tools in every way of the pipe and use them the way that everybody else has been using it forever, because we already are at a disadvantage. No matter what, our stuff isn't going to look as good because the headsets aren't as good, phones aren't as good, projections aren't as good, our sensors aren't as good. It's not a red camera yet. And until that point, we have to, in order to meet the standards that everybody else is used to, we're going to have to really improve every other part we can.
All right, you guys have been agreeing. There's been too much agreeing, so I'm going to push back on that.
Well, I'm going to throw back on something on him, too.
Okay, so let me push back on that. Like, when we're in the spectrum from IMAX 3D to cat videos on YouTube, and those cat videos on YouTube are producing more views than more highly produced things, does that quality production really matter?
Well, that's the Cassavetes effect, where it's like, if something's fucking amazing, if something's amazing,
There you go,
it's
that's the
gonna.
first one.
That's the first one.
It's gonna be amazing. Explosions are cool no matter how you shoot them.
Cats are amazing on
No matter how you shoot them. Couldn't
piano.
agree more.
Yeah. I have a presentation in an hour where I have a cat video in it.
There it is. There it is. So, but I think one thing I learned, I would observe with this is that production gives you one hell of an advantage. It does not cover up the lack of content and storytelling and being compelling. It does not do that. But if the content is compelling enough, people are forgiving on the production value.
And don't
right?
let yourself be second fiddle. I see so many live 360 shows end up being second fiddle.
And by that, what do you mean by that?
So like it's like,
It's not
oh,
the focus.
we're gonna add a 360 thing to this.
It's an add-on. To
Onto
Just
the
make sure
side
you're
of
not,
it.
you don't get in the way.
Yeah.
Don't have it in my 2D shoot. As
Yeah,
long
don't
as
get in the way.
As long as your camera's not anywhere near what I need to shoot, it can be over there.
And so the
Like,
thing that
yeah.
that's not cool because you end up with crappy shots.
Yeah.
And so the way we approach it is we go up to the union crew and we say, hey dude, we're on the same team. I want to support you. All I ask is you tell me what your frame is. So at the beginning of every shot, they're using
nice, yeah.
lenses.
Yeah.
So I know what, I ask, hey, what lens you run? And they tell me and I'm like, okay, cool, I won't be in your shot, but I'm gonna push right up to the edge. And people just, I don't know, for some reason, because 360 isn't as big yet and it's the afterthought sometimes,
Yeah.
they don't think, and then their client turns to them and says, why does this look bad? Why did nobody watch it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Proximity is so important with this. You know, I mean, we're talking about, you know, comparison against 2D cameras. You know, if you're at a sporting, you know, sports game, you know, these cameras have like, what, 20x, 40x zooms on them. You know, we need to be close with our cameras. And, you know, I mean, the best production in terms of camera positions that we've done so far was we did this Barry Gibb thing from the Bee Gees.
It's good.
And the, you know, from the beginning, it was only about 360. This was not a 2D production. So we got amazing access. We had the camera right close to Barry Gibb, right, you know, this far away, and well, one of them, and we had multiple cameras, and it just made all the difference with a host, and it was the whole thing was done for 360. And you know, it's like Lewis said, like we want to do those kind of jobs. We don't want to be dealing with, you know, those kind of. But I mean, sometimes it's inevitable. We've been doing a lot of sports stuff lately.
Sports is
Soccer
a hard
games.
one.
That's what's the
crap.
thing that's really popular. Lewis, before we run out of time, attack!
You just dropped this thing real casual. You're like, are you creating live depth maps? Did you just say that correctly?
I thought I heard
too.
I heard that too. and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
so let's go. Let's hear it.
No, you're
How accurate?
You're creating depths. You can come over tomorrow and take a look at it.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
going to see these live
But the
depth
thing
maps.
is, because you've got stereo, you've got depth. I
I
can sit
agree,
there
but
and
it's
take
not
my
a
finger.
depth map.
Well, it's you're getting the depth out of it, and then
Okay.
yeah. Not a full depth map. Okay, we're on
Well,
record here.
don't take
no
me
full
literally.
Depth map. We're getting depth. Depth.
But the last thing I'll throw in the spirit of unity, so we were just talking about getting close. And the thing I like about your cameras is they fit it really easily into my existing post-production pipeline. I can strap it in any truck over here, put a server in front of it, I mean, it's fine. But it's big.
Right.
They're big.
What are big? The cameras.
The cameras, it's
You haven't seen the
bigger.
new one.
Your camera's bigger than his camera.
Yeah, yeah.
Never have you ever wanted to have the
little
saying,
teeny
"Oh, it's so much
sensor."
smaller than I thought." But ours is. Mine is.
But but the point I'm making is there's an advantage to both of these.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think about in 360, I think as a creative, I don't switch lenses anymore as a DP. I switch cameras.
Yep.
Ah, great.
Because yeah, you are the we have the like Alex was saying, you have a zoom on a 2D. You can zoom into something. You don't have a zoom. The
No.
zoom is a guy with a little stick and moving towards it. That's our zoom. So positioning is really
Position
important.
is key. Crop with your feet, but you can't crop anything. You just
Nope.
get closer.
Yeah. Well, we are almost out of time, so I'd like to thank our guests for joining us. I think we had a really good discussion. I'm glad that we got a little
No
aggressive
furniture
there
was
for a
broken.
No
moment.
furniture yet.
No furniture is broken. Okay,
First
yes.
F-bomb drop.
Yes.